Pledge allegiance to
the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Paperwork here. Okay, we've got a little change in our agenda this evening. We had invited the coach and Class AAA champion Shady Spring Tigers to the meeting this evening, and Coach Olson was trying to work it out. However, between track and baseball and travel ball, he was having a hard time rounding his team up. So we'll probably get them in another time. We have a nice certificate for him and for each of the team members, and we'll also give them a City of Beckley challenge coin. So anyhow, we'll move along here. First order of business, reading and approval of the minutes from the April 9th regular council meeting.
Motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
Have a motion and second to accept the minutes as presented for the April 9th meeting. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by a like sign, that motion carries. Next, reading and approval of the minutes from the April 15th, 2024 workshop, during which Jay Phillips and Tammy Jordan visited with us. So we have a motion to approve those minutes.
Mayor, I move to approve the minutes.
Second.
Have a motion second to approve the minutes of the workshop of April 15th. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by a like sign, that motion carries. Thank you. Okay. Reading and approval of the minutes from the April 16th special council meeting to lay the levy for the FY 24-25 period.
I move that we approve those minutes.
Second.
Have a motion second to approve the meeting during which we laid the levy on April 16th. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by a like sign, the motion carries. Thank you. Next, award of bid for the paving of Russell Street from Vance Drive to Canal Street and the paving of Garfield Street from Johnstown Road to Russell Street. Councilwoman at large, do you have that?
I do. The paving bids were received by the City of Beckley for Russell Street from Vance Drive to Canal Street and Garfield Street from Johnstown Road to Russell Street in the City of Beckley. There were two bids, one from AAA Paving and Sealing and one from Southern West Virginia Paving. Both companies have worked with the city in the past and performed quality work, and each of the bids met the requirements. The bid from AAA Paving and Sealing was $182,000, and the bid from Southern West Virginia Paving was $161,800. I'm going to put that in a motion that we accept both of these bids. Do I need to do that separately, Bill?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. That's
No.
one
No,
motion.
it's just one bid for
It's
the,
one bid.
it's one bid for the
One
entire.
bid
We're accepting the bid from
From
Southern West Virginia Paving, the cheaper one of Southern West
Yeah.
Virginia.
for 181.
Yeah.
All right.
No, the 161.
Do I have a motion?
You made the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that we accept the bid from Southern West Virginia for $161,800.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to accept the bid as presented by Ms. Hunter. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by a like sign, that motion carries. Thank you. Next, order of a proposal to assist in the hiring process of a city manager. Mr. Fowle?
Yes, sir, Mayor. The committee that this Common Council appointed some time back to come up with an organization or a company that could help us in recruiting a city manager or candidates to be a city manager met this past Thursday on April 18th. They reviewed the two responses we had received, and we had put out bid, or asked for these companies through a request for proposal. We'd asked for proposals for their, from their companies and what procedure they would follow, what the costs would be, and what experience they had had. After reviewing the two candidates, one being Baker Tilly and the other one being a local company called At Work, it was the unanimous selection of this committee that we go with Baker Tilly. They are a national firm. The cost of their services will be $26,950, and they, in effect, will take it from helping prepare the candidate profile development through the employment offer. So they do the full scope of services that we were requesting, and they have a lot of experience doing this. And I contacted all of the references they had provided, which were in several different states, the state of North Carolina, South Carolina, and in Maine, state of Maine. And they received very, very high references, very positive comments from the cities that have used them. They have had, as I stated, tremendous experience doing this. This is what they do. And because this is the first time the city of Beckley has attempted to go down this road to hire a city manager, we felt it was best to go with the most experienced group. And based upon the references we received, this committee was very comfortable in recommending that Common Council approve entering into a contract with Baker Tilly in the amount of $26,950. So Mayor, that would take a motion to approve.
Mayor, prior to I'll be happy to make that motion, but prior to, there was also a discussion of utilizing one of their a la carte services that would effectuate the onboarding and give us a little more guidance, as they've hired this type of individual before, as to specifically laying out responsibilities and duties which are frankly, our ordinance may be a little bit lacking, and then practical connections between how they will report to council, how we'll have accountability, suggestions for other ordinances that may need change, like, oh, I don't know, for instance, if we were to need an ordinance that reflects a chain of command for someone to grieve a firing or a reprimand. So we discussed as a committee utilizing that ongoing a la carte service as well. I just want to make sure we mention it because that affects the price somewhat.
It was a small additional fee of about $1,600. Remember that, Bill?
That's I was going to do that next, but that is for
Sorry.
for a survey.
Well, you could have stopped me.
That's no problem. You did a nice job there. That is for $1,650. It's for an optional web-based community survey. And the committee does recommend that the council also authorize the city entering into a contract to use Baker Tilly for this survey service.
Well, then I would make a motion for us to approve the committee's recommendations with respect to Baker Tilly.
I second that.
Have a motion and a second to award the proposal as described by Mr. Fowler, Mr. Dunlap. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by the like sign, that motion carries. Thank you. Resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a deed of correction conveying Beckley landfill property to NRG RDA. Mr. Fowler?
Yes, sir, Mayor. Some time ago, the city entered into well, in fact, the city deeded some property. Let's see. Get the right ordinance here, make sure I'm giving you the right one. I've got several here. Okay, this is the resolution. There was at one time some property an ordinance was adopted that authorized the city to convey certain property at the Beckley landfill to the New River Gorge Regional Development Authority. And then there was a deed in which there was property that was deeded from the city to the New River Gorge Regional Development Authority, but that deed omitted a portion of the property that was intended to be conveyed. So tonight, what we are requesting is authorization for for the city to execute a deed of correction, which will contain the remaining portion of the property that the city had intended to originally deed to the New River Gorge Regional Development Authority. So that will take a motion to accept this or approve this resolution, and it's simply a motion to approve the signing of the deed of correction. There had been prior authorization by council some time back to do the original deed, but just inadvertently, a portion of the property was omitted at that time, and this will correct that. So this also would require a motion to accept the resolution there.
Okay, thank you. We have Jenna Belcher in the audience this evening. Jenna, do you have any comments on this correction?
No, I just want to remind council that this is for the brownfields remediation. It is a requirement that, it's a requirement of the EPA that the original property owner cannot remediate their own property. So we were able to secure about $600,000 in a grant to remediate, and in order to do that, we entered into an agreement to remediate the property under our ownership and then transfer the property back for reuse to the city. We had our kickoff call now that the grant has been awarded effective October of 2023. And it was determined that the landfill is actually split into 2 parcels, and only one of those parcels was transferred. So we do need to have the second parcel transferred so that we can remediate the entire portion for reuse. That grant cycle will run for 4 years, October of 27, and we do have regular scheduled project meetings with representatives from the city of Beckley and the EPA throughout that process.
And Jenna, just to clarify for people that are here, the former Raleigh County
Correct.
landfill.
Yes, we like to call it the
Actually, the trash
former,
dump.
Yeah.
the former Raleigh County landfill, or former Beckley landfill is what we refer to it as.
Okay, any other questions of Jenna or Mr. Fowle on amending this ordinance?
Your Honor, if I may, I would move that we go ahead and amend the
Actually,
deed
the
of correction,
resolution.
granting power for you to execute the deed. Sorry, started reading the wrong bullet line.
Yeah, and I said ordinance rather than resolution.
okay.
So we have a motion. Do we have a second to approve the?
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second to amend the resolution as presented. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by a like sign, that motion carries. Thank you. Next, first reading of an ordinance, I guess which affects the traffic control map. Mr. Fowle?
Yes, sir, Your Honor. This is an ordinance that I believe Councilwoman Bullock has requested in the past, and I know the police department, the police chief looked into it and recommended that council go ahead and approve this ordinance. What this ordinance does is it permits the installation of stop signs which will stop vehicles traveling on Ballstick Avenue as they come to the intersection of Ballstick Avenue and Hartley Avenue. And prior to entering that intersection, going by either direction, a motor vehicle is required pursuant to these stop signs to stop. And this also permits the erection of proper traffic control signs to be placed on the intersection of Ballstick Avenue where it merges with Hartley Avenue. So this is an ordinance I will read by title tonight, but for the first time, if approved tonight, we will have second reading of this ordinance at the next regular scheduled council meeting. This ordinance is titled, "An Ordinance to Provide for an Amendment to the Traffic Control Map Other Than Parking and Traffic Control File Requiring Vehicles Traveling on Ballstick Avenue to Stop at the Intersection of Ballstick Avenue and Hartley Avenue." And at the next meeting, if approved tonight, there will be a public hearing prior to second reading. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. With that second reading, as we have discussed, and I haven't announced yet, but because we're not meeting on May the 14th, which is Election Day, we've decided that with a number of issues we have at hand, that a meeting 2 weeks from tonight on May the 7th
Yes,
would be appropriate. So would that be the appropriate time for the second reading?
that would be an appropriate time. Certainly put that on the agenda for that meeting.
Okay, very good. Okay, any other questions regarding this first reading of the ordinance and set for public hearing on May the 7th?
I just want to thank Chief Bailey and Attorney Fowle. Thank you all.
Okay, is that in the form of a motion?
Oh, okay.
Second.
Have a motion and second to approve the ordinance on the first reading, set for public hearing on May the 7th. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by a like sign, that motion carries. Thank you. Next is reading of the Fair Housing Proclamation. This is a fairly long proclamation. It's something we do every year, and I'm going to bypass the reading of this ordinance because we do have other matters. We have some guests this evening. So I'm going to present this to the Human Rights Commission for your records. Would you like to take this now, Danielle? Yes. Very good. Thank you. Okay, next. Anything from any member of council under old business?
Mayor, I would just like to say that Leslie Baker did an excellent job at Rotary today. She did a presentation, and it was great,
Good.
very outstanding.
Anything else from any member of council under old business?
Oh, I have one more thing, I'm
All
sorry.
righty.
The flashing lights at the Rising Star Daycare Center, is something you said we probably need to ask Department of Highways about?
Yeah, we'd have to ask Mr. Fowle. It's a state route, so I
Okay.
don't think I can recommend anything on a state route.
You're correct about that.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have any update on the paving of G Street? The paving of G Street, it wasn't Stratton,
Oh,
by
yeah.
Stratton Elementary? Wasn't the contractor supposed to fix that paving?
Yeah. AAA said that they were gonna pave G and Kennedy. That's what they told Johnny Pep last.
Okay. No timetable, I had somebody reach out to me this week.
I can reach out to them and find out.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
That's
thanks for
more
asking
Board
about
of
that, 'cause
Education
I've
deal.
had people asking me about it.
Yeah, that's what I figured, and
Yeah.
I knew that's what was stated, that they were gonna take care of it, but
Yeah.
someone reached out to me, said it's
Yeah.
worse and worse, and just wanted
Oh, yeah,
to, if we had
it
an
is.
update.
So,
Anything else from any member of council under old business? Okay, I'm going to lead off with new business. Sam Rich from the Thrasher Group will discuss Thrasher's proposed scope of services for the Pinecrest Business Park site development. The proposed services are on page 3 of the handouts you received from Thrasher, with the proposed fee, a lump sum of $480,000. Special meeting of Common Council will be held on Tuesday, May the 7th, 2024, at 6:30 p.m. Then also going to announce a workshop for next Monday at the 29th to hopefully resolve the fruits of labor lease issue. So we'll do that at 5 o'clock on the 29th, Monday evening. So there we go. Sam, would you like to take over? Oh, there you are.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. We've been in front of you all at work sessions to discuss this project at least once previously, just as a reminder. And I did hand out a map, or I think Mr. File handed out a map that kind of shows the overall area that will be the focus of this project. I'm here to educate you tonight a little bit on the project, and then obviously this was not an agenda item, so there will be no votes taken tonight. That's one of the agenda items for the special meeting, which will be on the 7th. So I would encourage you, if you all have questions that even you don't think of tonight, to get those to Billy Trump, and he can share them with me so I can be prepared to answer any questions you do have at that meeting. But this scope of services that we're proposing is basically for all of the civil site design surveying work that's going to need to take place to develop this property that is located next to the school complex and Pinecrest Industrial Road. We do have several tenants that are interested in buying property here, with the caveat that we need to subdivide specific parcels that they are going to buy. They're not interested in buying the whole thing. They want to buy an acre or two here or there. So the purpose of our contract will be to design all of the roads, the site grading to create pad-ready development sites, all of the infrastructure into the site itself, as well as subdivide those parcels from the overall Pinecrest boundary so that those lots can be purchased by the interested parties. The overall property is around 28 acres that we're focused on. We're going to be developing around 20 acres of what we call pad-ready sites that can be sold off or usable for buildings, parking, so on and so forth for future development. You can see that there is an internal road that will connect Cranberry Creek Drive to Pinecrest Industrial Road. They're closer to the bypass entrance, and then we'll have some spurs that would allow further subdivision of some of those pads that we have labeled. It could be that somebody is interested in buying a 3-acre pad, depending on the size of their building or office space that they're interested in constructing, but that will kind of be developed as time goes on. The intent is for us to develop as much of this property as possible to make it more attractive and more immediately ready to sell so that people can start doing vertical construction. If you drive by the site right now, there's a lot of terrain, elevation change. It's not what we consider site ready in the industry. So our contract will be to design all of that, do the necessary permitting through local and state agencies. We will be doing the surveying, as I already mentioned, in the subdivision. We will also be offering bidding and construction administration services through this contract. So Thrasher will help with the advertisements, Class 2 legal ads for contractors that will actually bid on this work. We will also manage construction throughout the process, so we'll have regular progress meetings, review submittals, change order requests, RFIs, inspect the work on a regular basis. In fact, our contract that we're proposing does include full-time inspection. When you are doing a project like this where you're doing cuts and fills, compaction for future building is extremely important. So we'll have an inspector out there checking particle size of the fills that get placed and understanding the compaction is meeting our minimum spec requirement, as well as inspecting the infrastructure that will be installed. We'll have lots of underground utilities, water, sewer, gas and power conduit and communications conduit banks. So that's the other need for full-time inspection on this project. We're estimating, just based on the site plan right now, if we were to go ahead and put the entire 28-acre area out to bid, this would be between a $4.5 to $5.5 million project. That's certainly something that the city is obviously focusing on doing a bond to pay for over time. But we would also work with the city through this design process, and if we don't want to put the entire thing out to bid, we have basically 3 property owners that are interested now, which are all kind of interested in what we've referred to as the oceanfront property or the property that's facing the bypass. So at a minimum, that would be the pad that we would need to develop, but the proposal that we've given you all is for the development of this entire property. It would include no vertical construction. Again, the intent is to sell these lots, and private entities would do their own building vertical construction. So certainly want to answer any questions that you all have, either about the project or our intended scope of services. And if you don't have any tonight and you think of them after tonight, certainly Billy has my contact information and would be happy to discuss those with you.
Any questions of Sam? Jenna, do you have any comments?
No, I think Sam and I have been working together on this project. The only comment I would say is that we have 2 very interested parties that have, at this point, I think indicated they're ready to walk if we can't sell them the property soon. So we have to mobilize, and I think that, obviously the first step to this is we have to get the engineering accomplished. So, I think that's, we're ready to sell, but we can't move property without having surveys, grade plans, all of that.
I think too, Mayor, when we acquired this property, we realized that we would have some expense in it, and we will recoup our money from SAM Services through the sale of the property itself. So.
Absolutely, and I think too, we have to remember that was part of the agreement when Pinecrest transferred it, is that the city would invest in the infrastructure of Pinecrest.
But also comment on business and operating tax over occupied private land, as well as construction activity that takes place on that land by private entities. That would also help recoup any money spent either on engineering or construction through the bond. It would be the intention that the bond would cover our engineering services as well. There would be reimbursement for pre-construction activities through that. So that's kind of how we're planning on paying for all of this at this time, just to clarify.
Mayor, I believe Paul Hutchison also raised his hand in the
Mayor, may I ask a question? It's sort of related. It has to do with the West Virginia Veterans Administration project, which we've heard a lot about, and I understand Thrasher is involved in that. You all are designing it. So would it be all right to find out, so that we can find out, update on that?
That was going to be another topic at our workshop, correct, Bill?
Right.
The swap?
Right, and Sam may want to briefly address that. I think he's working on that right now.
Right, so we were working with the state on the design of their facility, which is a 120-bed nursing home facility for veterans, and the original property that was just given to them by the Department of Agriculture at the state was not adequate for what they're trying to build. So we have approached council about, at a workshop, about the potential of swapping some of the Pinecrest land that they own with land that the state owns. Again, it's a facility that'll create a couple hundred jobs, a lot of B&O taxes during construction, really good for our area, but it will not be in this same vicinity that I shared with you, council. Obviously, it's located past the sheriff's office toward the west, away from this development, but it is another large project that's taking place in the area.
Very good. Any other questions of Sam? Okay, Sam, much appreciated.
Thank you all.
Just thank you for the summary. Anything from any other member of council under new business?
Mayor, I have something. This first Thursday in May is always the National Day of Prayer. This was created in 1952 by a joint resolution of the United States Congress and signed into law by President Harry S. Truman. Our former mayor, Emmett Pugh, allowed us to read the Bible for 24 hours at Word Park. And on May 2nd, we're going to do it from 8 a.m. until 7 p.m. And a variety of churches, all denominations, will read whichever scripture they want for 10 minutes. And it's at Word Park, first Thursday in May 2nd, 2004. Thank you.
Anything else from any member of council under new business?
Yes, sir, I have two things.
All right.
First of all, it's going to be after the May 7th special meeting, which I didn't realize, but anyway, I'll put it out here, that on May 10th at 10 o'clock Friday, there's a grand opening, a ribbon cutting for the Beckley Salvation Army Boys and Girls Club, and everybody in the room is invited. It's a big event, and it's a big addition to our community, and we should help celebrate that. Secondly, council, I passed out a map for you from it's the library here, and what this entails, it kind of revolves around what Jenna was talking about the old dump, and over there at that dump, most people realize I was a president of the Historical Society for a while, and we worked on trying and creating we didn't create it, but like on Piney Creek below, there was Alfred Beckley had his grist mill, and at the grist mill above that is this dump area. And we can't really utilize that to its fullest potential until this brownfields is repaired. And Jenna's working hard to get this taken care of. In the meantime, this is 2 stoplights off of Interstate 64, and we also are working on, I don't know what it is, but it's like monies to put a visitor center there. So when people enter off of 64, it can be a rest area and a place to invite people to come over to the national park. It's a big to-do. This new road, the Clarence W. Meadows bypass, is what it's all about. And that's this whole industrial park, what we're working on, that's what it's about. The Chamber of Commerce, I worked with the committee, and we're working on landscaping along this road to make it pretty and attractive, because it is going to be the gateway to that national park, because we're going to see hotels and restaurants develop there. But what I've been doing, and it's through an ad hoc committee through the Chamber of Commerce and the City of Beckley, that directly across the street from the back entrance to Woodrow Wilson High School, there's across the street, there's this barren piece of property. It's kind of a mountain, and it overlooks the Cranberry Creek. And that's this bridge that goes across. It's nice and big and strong, and when you look down, you get to see Cranberry Creek. But through the outdoor recreation, Beckley Outdoor Recreation, the Piney Creek Park, follow me here, it's underneath of this bridge. That's where these two waterfalls are. So across the street, we're putting in, the map is an overlook for the bridge and the creek. And it goes along with the Beckley Outdoors. And I've got a little sketch of it. You can look at it afterwards, but there'll be an entrance. What's sketched out, it's a big deal to get a curb cut on that street. We've already got permission to create a curb cut, and we've talked with Syntec, and they've put us a little parking lot up there, like about 10 parking spaces, and a viewing area over it. It's a part of a big plan. So, you know, stick with us and just watch the development that happens out there at that Clarence Meadows Boulevard, because it's going to be a big deal, and it's going to be fantastic, and everybody's going to be real proud of it. And that's what this map's about.
Very good. Way to go, Tom. Thank you. Anything else from a member of council under new business?
Mayor, I have something else. I'm sorry. I don't know what I just did with it. But Thursday, May 9th, is the gala at Beckley, the Convention Center, the Bill Withers Gala. So if you need a ticket, go and see Michelle Rodolini at the Chamber of Commerce. I would love to see all of you all there.
Good. Okay, anything else from a member of council under new business?
Mayor, I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank council for the last 8 years that I've had here. It's been good. In starting my time with the city in 1971, I'm old, look at the hair. Mowing grass, then figuring out that it was probably a lot more fun after a couple years mowing grass of working inside the fence at New River Pool and seeing all the girls in the bikinis. It's a lot more fun than mowing grass. Ended up running the pools, then moving on, you know, went to college, ended up coming back, working at the bowling alley for a little while, went to the police department as the periodical parking enforcement attendant, i.e. meter maid. Wrote almost 11,000 tickets. Sorry if I got anybody. Spent 22 years at the fire department, and then now 8 years at council. I've seen a lot in this little city, from the point of having to stop hitting golf balls out in the Beckley Plaza to let airplanes land, to now seeing the development that's out there now. I encourage everybody out there in Cyberland or wherever, when you go to the polls this time, don't vote for your friends. Vote for the ones that are going to be able to do the job. The council you see before us, before you, is going to be different. Not only in the personnel, but in what will be required from them. Council as you know it, for the council members that will be here, is totally different from those that are sitting in the office audience of what you will see, what will happen. The responsibility now with strong council becomes that the people that set up here will be the policymakers. You don't need your friend up here. You need the people that are going to be able to do the job. It's going to be totally different. So I encourage you to think about it strongly, because these people up here will be the ones who will set the policy. They will set the agenda. They will set where this city goes. Now, we've done well. I've worked, my mother did payroll here for 20 years. I remember running around this building in early 60s when she worked here. John Howard McCulloch, Mayor Smith, Emmett Pugh, you know, Mayor Rappold. I've been under a lot of mayors. I've seen a lot of things. But I encourage everyone to pick the right person. You know, those that are running, say, I can do this. It might be like a dog chasing a car. What do they do with it when they catch it? Don't know. Well, this city is poised on an explosion of progress, whether it be at the Pinecrest Park, whether it be with Councilman Sofer's projects. There are numerous projects out there on the cusp of coming to fruition. And I hope the ones that are voted in here understand that. If you haven't talked to any council member who is a part of a municipality with a strong council, I encourage you to do so. I've done it, and I won't be here because it's going to be different. The responsibilities of those that are up here, it is going to be different. So pick the right person who's going to be able to do the job. If it's your friend and you think so, that's fine. But just don't pick it because they're your friend. Pick it because they can do the right job. Because I want to be able to sit back in my recliner and watch you all continue to do the right thing. You know, I want to be able to walk my puppy down the street and see the right thing being done. Because the right things have been done here. I know there's been some discrepancy over the years, but look at it. Look at where we were, I don't care, pick a number, 10 years ago to where we are now. You can't run the city like a business. A city is there to serve the people, to provide them services, to provide them enjoyment, whether it's through parks and recreation, good roads, safe cities, good fire department, whatever it may be. We are a service organization. So I encourage you to keep that in mind on who you vote for, because the next few years will set the stage for the next 100 years. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Great advice. Anything else from any member of council under new business? If not, we're down to public comments. Looks like Mary West is at the top of the list.
Good evening once again. I am here, and I'm going to speak from this end to that end, and I'm looking for some answers. Now, my number one thing this evening is our children. We had an incident on a school bus yesterday morning where a kid gets on at 6:30 in the morning, flashes a weapon, and jumps off. Now, these schools, and I get tired of hearing people say, well, the city and the school board is not working together. Get together, people, because we could have a different story tonight to tell. We got this thing here to protect us in this building. We need them in the schools to protect our children. And those bus drivers also need something. So all this money that you all are waving around, please use some of it for our children. Because if somebody's kid gets shot because of what nobody is looking at on a school bus or in the school, that should not happen in this day and time. Just looked at an incident Saturday up at Freedom Park where kids bullying kids, took a kid's shoes from him. That's old school stuff. They got arrested, but still, our children are chemically imbalanced like the adults are, because all the chemicals in the food, we don't know what we're eating, and our children are beginning to act so out of the norm. Now we need some help. If we can have these right here and here, put them in the school system, protect our children, because they can't speak for themselves. You got some good children, you got parents that are giving up on parenting, period. That's why the children are acting out, social media and everything. Now, my next thing is LaRue Avenue. I am so tired of coming and asking for some help on that street. Now, we had a leak down there last Thursday. Beckley Water Company come down to fix it. And I had to get out there and direct traffic to keep them from running over top of each other and the workers out there. I don't need to have to do that, because that's not right. We should have something to slow those people down. They are coming through there so fast, it does not make sense. You can't even walk on that street. You can't do nothing without almost getting hit. So I would appreciate if all of you all would consider and give some help, because July is quite a distance away. I know some of you all gonna be leaving, and even when the other ones come in,
15 seconds.
15 seconds, Mary.
15 seconds, that's good, because when the other ones come in, I hope they think and do something for us and for the children and all. Thank you very much.
Paul Hutchinson.
Mayor, I've got a bit of laryngitis, so I'm going to pass.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Michael Smith.
How y'all doing? I've missed you. Yeah. Anyway, I've been reading this. I've been
3
reading the
minutes.
charter.
Yeah.
Oh, God help us. Anyway, Chapter 8, Health and Sanitation. I came here back in November and I said, oh, there's standing water next to me where I live now in the city. And I really didn't care before, but I care now because I live there now. Okay? So right next door to me is a lot. The people that own it, supposedly, I talked to a guy from Asplin. He was going to tear the tree down. He's going to cut the tree down, but they can't find the owner because maybe they're in Australia. Anyway, when I came here, I talked about this. I should have been told who the city health officer was. Who is the city health officer? Because it says under Chapter 8, Health and Sanitation, that the city health officer is designated. And it talks about their duties, talks about offensive odors, but the most important one, as far as I'm concerned, was 8.6, water courses and drainage, improper drainage of premises. Improper drainage. That's what I have next door to me, improper drainage. So who is the person that I should be talking to if it's not y'all?
Well, I think the Beckley Sanitary Board.
So, I went down there and talked to the sanitary
Okay.
board, but he's not, is he the, I'm sorry, Chapter 8, the city health officer?
He's in charge of stormwater.
I understand that, but when I talked to him, he
I
was like,
don't
I'll
know that
look
we
at it.
have, I don't know that we have a health officer.
We do not know who we have as a health, would it be the Raleigh County Health, that guy, the
Probably so,
doctor?
yeah, health department.
Maybe? Okay, so should I go talk to them?
Yeah.
Okay, so no, you're not worried about it? Okay. So anyway, again, it's really kind of cool because in Article 8, there's a, Article 1 is general, there's a lot of stuff in general. Article 2 says nuisances, garbage, trash, junk, and weeds. You think we got a problem with that? Good luck.
Frank Williams.
First of all, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
First of all, I just want to thank a couple of people. The police department, we had a squatter, had moved into a house right across the street from me. Been there for about 2 weeks, didn't know it, until they peeped their head out and stole something out of my grandbaby's shed. But the police, we called them, they came there, I appreciate that. Also, Pam, I give hats off to your crew. They came over in the East Park area, hard down raining, did not miss a beat. And I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else with regard to the calls? Mr. Fowler, do we have anything else we need to cover this evening? Say we're good?
I think we're good.
Okay, good. Okay. With that, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, everybody.
Oh, anybody online or is that out?
That's out.
That's out.
Yeah.